most part, they're pretty laid back. As you can see, these 4 have been in here for a little bit of time without any tape. They're not trying to attack people or go after you for any reason. But they are very reactive animals. That means if you approach an alligator, you get too close, you make him a little uncomfortable, he is going to react to that. He's going to react to people approaching him or touching him. You can see they're very quick. Alligators are very quick, they can spin around very quickly. That's why you never really want to approach them in the wild. Now with that being said, an alligator really isn't going to chase you. The only reason why you may ever be chased by an alligator is if you approach a female who is protecting her nest or protecting her babies. In that case, she might chase you for a very short distance just to get you away from that area. If you need to get away from an alligator, some of you may have heard the myth, you should run in a zigzag. That's really not true. That's a good way to get tripped, to fall, and then get caught by the alligator. So you don't want to run in a zigzag, you just want to run a straight line and just get away as quickly as possible. The alligator really isn't going to chase you for a very far distance. Now alligators have really good vision. They can see almost 360 degrees. They have very good depth perception, but they do have some blind spots, like inside their mouths. They can't see inside their mouths, and that allows us to do some things, some stupid things like that, putting our hands in there. Now as long as the alligator doesn't see that, he's not going to react to that. But if you do touch his tooth or his mouth, if you accidentally bump the inside of his mouth, he will bite down. Now another blind spot that they have is underneath their jaws. And that actually allows us to do one of the capture methods, which is called the frontal capture. We capture the alligators by their jaws and then quickly get around their backs. But that doesn't always work. It doesn't work with every individual. Alligators are very different. They all have their individual personalities. Some are more aggressive than others. Some are jumpers. Sometimes you can't approach them from the front. So sometimes we have to get around the back and do what's called the quick catch, in which we go behind the alligator so that he doesn't see us, and then quickly jump on his back. Now sometimes they do react to that. Sometimes they try to spin around and bite you, but as long as you're sitting on his back, they really can't get you. And what he's going to demonstrate is called the Florida Smile. And that was actually developed by Native Americans back when they used to do sideshows to entertain the public. They did the Florida Smile, in which they would open the alligator's mouth and teach people about the inside of the alligator, about their teeth. They have about 80 teeth, about 40 on top and 40 on the bottom. And those teeth are constantly being replaced. Kind of like sharks, they go through about 3,000 teeth in a lifetime. And they're actually hollow and cone-shaped. So when one falls out, that leaves room for a new one to come in. Now in the back of his throat, you might notice it's sealed off. He's got kind of like a flap there. It's called a throat flap or a palatal valve. And that allows the alligator to seal off his throat when he's swimming under the water, preventing water from entering inside and drowning. Alligators' eyes are located directly on top of their heads, and they're actually able to pull their eyes inside of their heads. They're able to recess those eyeballs inside of their skulls, and that's really important because in the wild, they're going to be fighting a lot. They're going to fight with each other, especially the males, over territories, or they're going to fight for females during the breeding season, or maybe they're going to fight with a large prey item. And being that they can pull their eyes into their skulls is going to prevent injury to those eyes. Sometimes you might see an alligator with a missing eye, but for the most part, you don't really see that, and that's because they do have that ability to pull them into their skulls. Now on either side of their heads, you might notice some little black lines, little slits right by the eyeballs. Those are ear flaps, or ears. And sometimes, if you look at an alligator for a long period of time and you look at his eyes, you might notice a clear membrane going from side to side. That is called a nictitating membrane. It's actually a second eyelid. And they use that when they're swimming underwater. It's kind of like built-in goggles. All right, the next technique we want to show you was developed by the Seminole and Mississippi Indians. Back when they would have to go hunt alligators in the wild, they would oftentimes go hunting alone. And in order to do that, they developed a method to safely capture the alligator and secure his jaws with just their chin. They would hold the alligators with their chin, allowing their hands to become free, so that they may tie a rope around his jaws, secure the alligator so that they can take it back to camp safely. Now the last technique we want to show you is more of a trick. It's called the face-off. As you can imagine, if something goes wrong, it's going to get pretty messy in here. Actually, not really. But it is a really dangerous trick. It's also known as the chin trick, because the handler will hold the top jaw with just his chin, let go of the jaws, and then put his hands to the side. It's a good opportunity for a photo. All right, guys, so that was